Get ready for University of Georgia basketball.
Simple life, no American Idol, but I get by. Wish I could tour with fifth wheel bus. Back to the real world, time to wake up.
Alright guys, last video. What has been going on? It is June 3rd. What has been going on in the world of Georgia basketball? If you know me, I've been super slow as of late. Not a lot of good stuff has been going on. And yeah, we are still pissed about Scott getting fired for football. That has a lot to do with it, but there's just a lot going on right now in my life that is not fun. It really sucks, but we'll try to get past that by talking some basketball. So Georgia basketball, I still have made pretty much every video documenting the games. And to be honest with you, this is going to be one of Georgia's best schedules we've had in a very long time. It was announced last Friday that Georgia would be playing Duke in Madison Square Garden. The date or time has not been released in that game yet. It was announced earlier in the basketball season back in January that February that Georgia would play UNC. So Georgia will be going to North Carolina. I believe that date is November 13th. Let me check the D1 docket. Yeah, November 13th. And then Georgia also has West Georgia December 16th and December 29th, North Florida at Georgia Tech. It was also announced that Georgia will be playing in the ESPN Invitational in Orlando, Florida. So those two games are to be determined. And of course, as we talked about today, Florida Gulf Coast, November 19th. So, there's the scheduling part, and to me, again, it's very interesting that Georgia will have Duke and North Carolina on a basketball schedule. And to me, personally, I mean, this has something to do with what's been going on in the NCAA tournament. The last 2 years, you've played teams you have to play, and you have to beat, and you look completely lost. I mean, you're sitting there thinking, come on now, we could do better than that. We got such a terrible start, like 30-5 or something like that against Gonzaga. And then at one point against St. Louis, we were down 40 points. I mean, I know we could do better than that. And Mike White is saying, well, you know what? I know we can too by scheduling Duke, by scheduling North Carolina, by scheduling the ESPN Invitational. Georgia might play UCF, Cincinnati, and another team. I can't remember who the last team involved in that was at the moment. It's not been announced if it's going to be a play-in tournament, like a tournament, or is it just going to be a game? It has not been announced yet. Other teams still have to be announced in that as well. So we'll see how that goes when the time's right. But, I mean, personally, guys, I'm very happy with Georgia's schedule so far. And you're going to have to go, I didn't mention that, you're going to have to go to Georgia Tech, a place you usually go, but I mean, it gets harder as these years go on. Georgia Tech got a new head coach this year. Scott Cross from Troy comes and takes over for Georgia Tech, so he might be great. I mean, you don't know. So, I think Georgia's scheduling is good right now. Of course, you're going to have the SEC-ACC Challenge. So you're looking at potential 4 ACC teams on the schedule. Georgia Tech, Duke, North Carolina, and a challenge team. Nate Oates Burner on Twitter has Georgia playing versus versus North Carolina State in the SEC-ACC Challenge. I wish, if it's based off standings, I assume that would happen, but we're going to have to wait and see what ESPN does, because after all, this is their event. They do control it. And quite personally, when it comes to these challenges, whether it be SEC, ACC, a few years ago it was the SEC Big 12. I would be in factor. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I would be in factor of bringing back the SEC Big East Challenge. I feel like at the time that was a thing. It was in the early 2010s, like 2010, 11, 12, 13. I feel like the years that happened, the Big East always won because the Big East was a better basketball conference. Now, everybody in the SEC is great. I feel like if you brought that back, you maybe could win. I feel like Georgia would fare very good in that, but that's just my opinion. You could have Georgia play Villanova or something like the best team in the Big East is, I guess, UConn. I mean, you could have UConn, Tennessee in men's basketball. You could have UConn, Alabama. And then, you could have DePaul versus Vanderbilt or, Georgia versus Villanova or Georgetown versus Arkansas or something like that. Yeah, there would be a few teams get left out, but I think that it would be better to be the Big East Challenge than the ACC. That's just my opinion. If you really want to go back, then I guess you can make it the SEC Big 12, but I wouldn't see that wouldn't even make sense in my opinion. So, I'm enjoying the ACC Challenge. Georgia, you talk about something good. The SEC ACC Challenge has been going on since the 23-24 season. Georgia will win over Florida State, Notre Dame, Florida State again. Georgia is 3-0 in the SEC ACC Challenge, and knock on wood, Georgia will be 4-0 after this upcoming season's done. With whoever they play, Georgia has done really good in this, and that's shocking because outside of the Notre Dame game, when Georgia pretty much led wire to wire, you had to think, like, you were down 20-something against Florida State in 2023/24. You had to come all the way back to win that game off the Justin Hill buzzer beater. And then last season you went to Florida State. You completely rolled them. You were up 1 point by 30 points. We never see Georgia basketball get up 30 points on the road versus somebody. They did versus Florida State. To me, that was nice. That made it worth everything that Georgia played in that challenge. That was nice. You beat a team that just 2 years ago you had to struggle with, and that's the only thing. Nate Oates-Burner had Virginia Tech playing South Carolina. To me, that's the only thing I don't want. I don't want repeats. Like, I was really upset last year that Georgia had to play Florida State again. I was like, why Florida State again? We just went there 2 years ago. At this point, it was 2 years ago. It's 3 years ago now. But, I mean, we just went there when it first started. And, to say that made me feel a lot better about playing that game and being in it. It was fun. And, you hope maybe at some point the better you do, the more opponents you get to play. You know what I mean? So you get to play, you get to play Clemson if you finish good again, or you got to get to play Wake Forest or something like that. What they really need to do, and they won't do this, they need to make Georgia and Georgia Tech ACC, SEC challenge games, but because they're already scheduled, they're like, no, we're not going to do that. That would be peak television to me. Florida State, Kentucky, Louisville, South Carolina, Clemson, and Georgia Tech should all be in that SEC ACC challenge. Just for the most part, as they shouldn't be playing in November. Georgia Tech basketball game was always played in January for a long time. It was never played before the football game. In the last 2 or 3 seasons, it's been played way before the football game. And to me, that's not right. That's not what this rivalry was built on. Georgia and Georgia Tech never played each other before football. Never played before football. They would either play in late December or early January. Them playing in football, them playing in basketball before they played in football was never even under consideration at some point. So, that's how I feel about that. I feel like they should be able to play it in, um, they could play it in, the January again, and then have Kentucky, Louisville, Miami, Florida State, South Carolina, Clemson. I'm trying to think if I'm missing any other SEC, ACC rivalry games. I don't think I am, but yeah, I would be down for playing it in January. So that's what it is, guys. I hope you enjoy watching. Have not recorded a video like this in a while, and I'm sorry. I've just been down in the dumps. Just content programming. Notice we'll have a takeover for July 1st, July 4th. I turned 21 this year, so we will have a very special birthday / 4th of July, 250th year of America. And I won't make that a political thing or anything. I'm just saying 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays. I love going to my parents' house, our family's house, grandparents, and having fun there, to coming home in the afternoon and messing around here with my dad for a little while, and joking around and cutting up. And I always loved the 4th of July, so I feel like we're gonna have games. We're gonna have games all weekend, and then that will be the last major. This is gonna be different, guys. After the 4th of July, which I take it back, because we will have just a few weeks after the 4th of July, we're going to go to Myrtle Beach. So we're going to have a 2023, 24, 25, 26, a 4th consecutive vacation takeover. Myrtle Beach takeover. Well, we'll have 2 or 3 videos a day for a week. But man, after that, after we get home from Myrtle Beach, that will be the last major video uploaded on this channel until November, until basketball season. And I hate that how it is now. And of course, we're going to be live streaming the football games, the soccer games, so you'll get those videos as well. But as far as it comes with Georgia radio, yeah, it won't be till November again until we post again. And I hate it, but it breaks my heart. But I'm just doing what's best for me. And that's how I want it to be. So 2021 and 22, we were basketball only. 2023, 24, and 25, we started back doing football. And that's pretty much has been stripped away from me. So we will start back with basketball only. And we will ride that for the rest of the channel, I guess. Until if they ever fire Scott from basketball, which I hope they never do. That would be the end of that, but they fired him for football wrongly. They wrongly fired him for football. So, I've been stripped of that content. We will now be replacing it with our own content. We would now be doing live streams of the games, and kind of similar to at one point maybe we did, but never would have imagined. I told somebody this. I told Graham Comfrey this from Dog Central. Love that man. He's a great dude. I said I would have been very happy in my life. I would have been very happy in my life being known as that person who made Scott Howard football videos. I would have been happy and content being that for the rest of my life. As long as I was on YouTube, I would have been very happy being known as that. But apparently, again, that's been stripped and taken away from me. So we will not be related to anything with that this year. or the upcoming. You see, I'm having plans. We're gonna live stream the games and for football. And we're gonna talk more about this later during the summer. But right now, I'm just kind of giving off my overall vibe of it. We're gonna live stream the games for football. Um, and my hope is to kind of build a cast. Obviously, this would go to both the Vault channel and the main channel. Um, I would want I would really love to have a good cast of characters. Um, as we've had in our spaces and stuff like that. I'd love to have a great cast of characters. And maybe I shouldn't be saying this publicly yet, but my goal, my dream and my goal is to get Scott. I mean, to get Scott and let him be our play-by-play announcer for the football games, for our live streams. And I would just be in the back doing color from home. Of course, it's all going to be from home. It would be from his house to my house to your ears on the space world of Twitter. But that's my dream. I would love to get Scott. I would love to get Scott to do the games with me, or I would do the games with Scott because I can't imagine a Saturday without him, and it hurts too bad to even think about. So that's my goal. And if I can't get Scott, then I guess I'll just be doing it by myself. And I wouldn't mind that, but if you've watched the baseball streams or the softball or soccer even, soccer is one of the only sports I'm truly comfortable doing play-by-play in. And that's just because at this point we've done Georgia soccer longer than any sport else. I mean, I know we started off doing Georgia basketball and COVID, but I mean, we have done Georgia soccer longer than any other play-by-play streams online. So we haven't done football in a long time. And to be quite honest with you, that's why I want Scott to do it. I would love to get in contact with him, and if he would be down for it, to get him to come on live spaces with us. And not to be rude or anything, but have it like a real radio broadcast where, nobody else is coming on talking. It's just me and Scott, and then we'll have somebody at halftime. I'll go over halftime maybe, halftime stats, and then if you want to come on and speak at halftime, you can speak at halftime, and then I'll mute everybody's mics except for Scott in the second half, and we'll go from there. And but obviously that's a long shot. That's just me probably being delusional. But I'm not trying to rival anybody or anything. But I want to do things how I want to do them, and there's no better time to start doing it than now from what's been going on. So I will say though that I do want to say this real quick. I will be posting old games on days Georgia does play. So, for example, Georgia plays Arkansas in their first SEC game. I'll be posting the 2020 and or 21 Georgia versus Arkansas game, just like I would post a regular game. The pregame and postgame video would be for the current day, but the radio calls would be old. And I hope I enjoy doing that. But to be quite honest with you, unless it's basketball news, and then of course when we get to August, football preview and soccer and volleyball and everything else, I hate to say these two channels are going to become almost, I don't want to say they're going to become dead until November, but that's pretty much what it is, guys, and I'm sorry it's come to that, but it is what it is. I had nothing to do with that decision. You all know what caused and who made that decision. And I hate that it's come to this, but just to prove a point, I mean, I was making baseball highlights before the announcement, and now I don't even feel like making baseball highlights. And to be quite honest with you, I won't be making baseball radio highlights near the end of this year, and I hate it because Georgia's going on a great run, but people have know what they have done, and I do not want to partake in it, so I won't be. And again, July 1st or 4th, we're going to have takeovers. We're going to have games premiere July 1st, July 2nd, July 3rd, and have videos posted July 4th. That'll be the final day, a week or two break, and then we'll have the Myrtle Beach takeover. I mean, and this is just me rant for a moment, because I have not just ranted for a long time. I've done everything with just wanting to know exactly what to say. And I haven't had a video like this in a while where I could just randomly talk. But, I'm hurt. I am. I am very hurt at this decision they've made. And every part of my bone wishes, every bone in my body wishes that they would revert this decision. But to be quite honest with you, it's not going to happen. And lately, I'm in the state of denial that it's not going to happen. I'm in the state that it don't feel real. You know what I mean? I'm in the state where my brain is triggered at the point and wired where I still think Scott's going to be doing the game come August or September 3rd versus Tennessee State. I really, really, in my brain, feels like that's going to be the case. But it's not. And I mean, this has been a terrible year for me. This has been a terrible year for me and my family. 2026. I mean, we started 2026 sick after all. That should have been a precursor of how you thought it was going to go. But this has been a terrible year for me and my family. So, I mean, that happening just pretty much, just piled on. It's just, again, it don't feel real. It doesn't feel real. It don't feel real that somebody that's worked for Georgia for 33 years, has done nothing wrong, was a perfect broadcaster and a great dude. I mean, it don't feel real that this has actually happened yet. And it don't feel real that it's happened like this. And I never imagined in a million years that it would end like it ended, but it did, and that has just left me very distraught and devastated. I never imagined it'd end like that. Never. 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 I'm serious. Never. I never would have pictured that. That is what would have happened. That's how it would have ended. And I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate you guys come to comments saying don't leave or don't give up or stuff like that. But to be quite honest with you guys, I know it's gonna sound kind of stupid. I've given up. I mean, I'm not into this no more. I will be for basketball, but for football, and it really hurts because I was just getting back in. If everything had worked, if everything stayed regular, nothing had changed, Georgia football would have been one of my favorite. Would have overtaken basketball as my favorite sport. And I know for a lot of people that'd be shocking, especially how my upbringing was with this fandom. In 2019 and 2020 and 2021. That would have shocked a lot of people that football would have been my favorite sport. But the announcement happened, April 24th happened, and now I'm still gonna be a fan of Georgia football, obviously. That's what somebody said. Well, you're not even Georgia. No, I'm not. I love Georgia more. I love Georgia just as much as I did the day of the announcement. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that it's not been hard, because it has been. It's been very hard to process, very devastating, very traumatic in a way that it's happened like this. And not only was his time as football play-by-play announcer cut short, he still had 15 great years left. We could have had maybe 20. But my legs were cut shut, my legs were cut off of making content. And to be quite honest with you, this channel, both channels, I as a human being will never be the same. Will never be the same. And I know that there's going to be so many people disappointed that how this season will go video wise. You know, they're going to wake up Sunday morning after the Tennessee State game and they're going to see nothing. Or if it is, it's going to be our streams. And there's a lot of people that don't deserve that. There's a lot of people that deserve to wake up to great content. But to be quite honest with you guys, at this point in time, I can't give you great content. That's why I hope somebody will make the effort to do what I do now for football. But it's not going to be me. You feel me? It's that ship sailed, and the reason it's not going to be me is, and I will make this specifically clear to everybody. I love Jeff Dantzler. He's a friend. He's a great broadcaster. Now, I don't know crap about John Stitchcomb. The fact he even got the job to me is astonishing. But I'm not going to bash nobody. I'm just going to say that, you know, I'm just going to keep it here with you. Yeah, so again, not to be rude, but I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that to you. Everything I built and done since I'll say 20, I should say 2020, but 2023, with the highlight videos, the outros, Scott and the gang signing off, and then 2020, in a way, I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting emotional. In a way, I'm devastated at it, because 2023, I enjoyed, and people don't realize I was on one foot. I was sitting on my computer sideways the entire game recording, because I had surgery, and I shouldn't even supposed to have been there, but I did anyway. I was like, I gotta record the game with Scott and Eric. 2024, the Fault Channel took off. I mean, I had never seen that much success than I had with that channel. Creative-wise, I've committed suicide and I'm dead. I am. That's the only way I can explain. My creativeness, my passion to create is dead. In 2025, we brought over, in 2025, in the off season, as we were building up to 2025, we had brought over basketball only content, and we gave it to football. Now, granted, it was without Z, and I really thought that I was gonna. I missed Z. Eric Zier's my favorite color guy ever, and I really thought that I was gonna feel that. But as we got to the end of the year, I had really got to the point where I was almost over Z leaving. I had loved Josh Brock, and some of that had to do with, because, you know, we made new extended highlights for people who wanted an hour and a half recap of the game. We brought over amended highlights from basketball only, and I was comfortable enough with it to give it to football, and it did relatively well. Some of the song choices people didn't like, but I mean, I don't give a frick about that. This is my videos. And I had so much to do this season. If everything would have stayed how it did, and Scott was still here, being football announcer, my possibilities were endless. I mean, I had so much planned and so much. I had so much planned, and my future was so bright. I thought I was going to hit 1,000 subscribers on the Vault channel during the season. I did. I really did. And that's not going to happen now. Matter of fact, it might go down. And to be quite honest with you, I don't care at this point. That's what hurts me so much is that I had a plan, and since 2020, people forget my most popular video at one point was uploaded to 2021 National Championship. It was just the fourth quarter. Had a picture over it. And 2022 National Championship with 22-23 when we played TCU. I mean, I have all of that still on the channel. And then 2023, man, I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry about her screaming, but she's in there playing. But I don't know how. I don't know what to do. I mean, that's truly what I could say. I don't know what to do. I am completely devastated at how it's happened. I feel like in a way that my creativity has just been kind of chopped under my legs, and I have no legs. That's why it hurts so bad. Is because I had plans to do so much stuff this year that we had never done before, man. I mean, you know, number one, I will say that I trusted my own work enough to bring something from basketball over to football. I'll say that with the amended highlights. I mean, they're not a fan favorite, but I mean, they're my favorite to make. And I trusted it enough from basketball, the ending of, and I guess that's one of the reasons that we continue to do it, because we did it in the end of the 23-24 season. The first one I made was the Ole Miss game. Georgia won. Then, you get to the SEC tournament. You beat Missouri and lose to Florida. Then I'm sitting there, well, that was short-lived. Then all of a sudden you get NIT where you beat Xavier, Wake Forest, and Ohio State. Those are 3 videos there that kind of pioneered a memory for that run. And it's like, wow. And it's my fault because, in all honesty, I should have brought it over earlier. I should have brought amended highlights over for the 2024 season. And in hindsight, I wish I did, because it bothers me very badly that I never got an actual new season of amended highlights with Z. That really bothers me a lot. It bothers me a lot that our last amended highlight video is going to be the G-Day game. That of new content for football. It always bothers me that that's going to be the last highlight video we ever make on this channel, but that's what just hurts me the most. Is I was planning to do a lot. I had planned to do so much, and it was wrongfully taken away. And now, I guess what I'm trying to say is I want that stuff to stay with what I was built upon. I don't want to make new amended pictures. I don't want to make new football graphics. I don't want to have to keep saving these new football pictures for Jeff and John. I want that to stay specialty for Scott, Eric, Hondo, Shock, Chuck Dowdle. I want that to be remembered with. I want my amended highlights, my regular highlights, extended highlights, everything we did, the Georgia football review, the basketball vault channel in total, I want it to be remembered with Scott in the game, because that's what I did during middle school and high school when I was having a tough time. I didn't turn to therapy. I turned to Scott in the game, listening to Scott in the game. My first year of college, 2024, that's why it's so special. That's why it means so much. It's because, I'll never forget my first week of college, passing every class I had, or every test I take. Because, first week of college, you actually do have to take serious stuff. And, got done that Thursday. I had no work to do the day after. And, it was a week before Georgia opened up the season against Clemson. That's when the Georgia Basketball Mixtape Volume 6 came out. Scott Howard, Eric Zier, Chuck Dattle, Neil Williamson, Shockley, Lauren Smith, they all helped me through a terrible period of time. They're helping me through it now, but it's not the same because it has been stripped away while I'll never have it to look forward to again. I will never be able to look forward to another Georgia football radio broadcast again. And to me, I'd never imagined that. I wouldn't say it. I couldn't, just 3 months ago, I could never imagine telling you I'd say that. Truly. I never in my life would imagine that I would be saying that I was never excited to listen to a Georgia game for football. But that's where we're at. And that has nothing to do with Jeff or John Sitcombe because I love them. But it's not what I've built this channel on or what I've grown up with. So that's why we're making the decision, as just not me, but for the few people who have really helped me through the way with this content creation. That's why we've made the decision to discontinue off football on both channels and replace it with our own original content. Because I believe, in my personal opinion, at some point you have to be original. And again, I would take making Scott Howard highlights every day of my life. I hope I live 100 years old, and I would have loved to have been that person that did videos and highlights and stuff with Scott forever, man. Forever. I would have never minded. I would go to bed happy right now. If I was able to do that. But instead, I'm going to bed distraught. I don't look forward to nothing in my life no more. One of the few things I really truly loved was stripped away from me, and to now that I don't plan to listen next year or this year. I hope Hondo's still going to be on. If Hondo's on, I'll listen to pregame or postgame if that's what he does. But I have nothing for it. It's dead to me. I hate it's cold, and if I don't want Jeff or John to think that I don't like them or anything, that's not true. I love Jeff Dantzler and I love John Stinchcomb. And two things could be true, and that's the problem with me I have with Georgia media right now. And I'm not calling out nobody's names. Two things could be true. You could be very happy for Jeff and John, but you could be devastated and upset for Scott Howard. And I'm choosing the second part more than the first because, just look at my channel. Who's on the freaking profile picture? Who's on the banner? Who are my most popular videos? They're Scott Howard videos. So, personally, I said this a few days ago during a space, and I don't mean to offend nobody about it. If Georgia is willing to make changes to the radio broadcast, I'm allowed to make changes too, whether it be with content or not listening or revolting back, because everything I'm doing I don't want I will make this very clear. I am not revolting Georgia at all. That'd be stupid. I'm just a worthless dude in his parents' house recording from a laptop. I have no real say so in what happens with any of this. But Scott not doing the games no more has pretty much. I'm devastated, guys, and I feel like people have seen that with the lack of uploads. But I'm devastated, and I will never, ever in my life have the same. Sorry again, guys, I'm getting emotional. I will never, ever in my life have the same feeling, the same process that I've had in the past for radio this year. And again, if you just told me that 2 months ago, I would have said, what? Like, I would have said, what the frick, man? You're lying, but it's come to that, and I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody that it's come to that, but that is what it is now. So that's final. Not talking about it much no more. That's pretty much what it's going to be. So I appreciate everybody listening. It was very weird to record from my Audacity on my computer or laptop. But yeah, Georgia basketball with a great schedule. Going to play Duke, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, and a random ACC opponent. So 4 ACC opponents on the schedule. We'll get to play Florida Gulf Coast, a team I don't think we've ever played in basketball. So it's all looking good, guys. And justice for Scott Howard. Go Dogs.
Improbable, the unthinkable, the unbelievable. They beat Arkansas and go wire to win the SEC tournament.